Got two guests to discuss the fallout of the attack on residential buildings in Qatar and the threat of more by the Israeli Prime Minister. Joining me on set is Faisal al-Mudahka, and he is the editor-in-chief of the Gulf Times newspaper. And across in Washington, D.C., Matt Duss joins us. He's the executive vice president of the Center of Policy, International Policy. Right, well, let's first of all start things off with Faisal. Faisal, what is the word now? I mean, we've seen the Gulf states rallying around Qatar, but what about the Arab Street itself? How does it look at this?
It's not only the Gulf state, it's the world solidarity.
Yep.
I don't think there is a region or there is a country that has this most solidarity in the last 24 hours. From east, from west, from all over the world. Qatar have, and the region have faced many challenges during the invasion of Iraq to Kuwait, during the war in the Gulf, the first war, the second war. So the solidarity of the GCC back in Qatar on what is happening. We live in a very strange world. 2 weeks ago, for the last 1 month, we have the CIA and the Mossad chief visiting Qatar, sitting in one table and Qatar is trying to solve this coward President Netanyahu action on what is his action in Gaza, and now he's trying to export his problem outside and involving us on. We are a country, a peaceful country that our policy, country policy, is a platform for mediation. We have solved many conflicts. Recently Congo, recently Rwanda, that was signed in the US. We have saved many Israelis. We have stopped the wars, not from now. Since 1995, Qatar took this mission of creating peace in the region and advocating for that. Even with Israel, the Gaza war in 2012, on and on and on and on. But it seems that President Netanyahu, I'm not sure he's talking to who. He has a mirror and he's talking to himself. He's a rogue president, out of law, that is pulling Israel as a state also to be out of law. He have killed 168,000 people now in Gaza, 14,000. He killed many journalists from Al Jazeera itself, 268 United Nations employees. So I don't know really where we are going with this wild mad dog.
First, I'm going to get over to Matt in D.C. Now, Matt, the thing is here, you've heard what the Israeli Prime Minister said, Benjamin Netanyahu, well, doubling down on what he said, on what he did. Point is, Donald Trump said that he assured Qatar it would never happen again on their soil. I mean, what gives here?
Right. It seems like Netanyahu was hoping that he would have a successful strike and that Donald Trump would see that strike and be impressed by it and turn around and possibly support it. That is, frankly, what happened when Netanyahu moved precipitously to attack Iran a few months ago. He took what he believed was not necessarily a green light, but a yellow light from Donald Trump, and was counting on the fact that Donald Trump would have people in his administration who would be impressed by this. Donald Trump would see the attacks on television and decide to support it. That is what happened with Iran. That is not what happened here. Now, I think that was a foolish bet on the part of Netanyahu. But as my colleague, your other guest, just said, Netanyahu is behaving extremely recklessly. He needs to continue to expand and escalate this war for the purpose of his own political survival. And I would expect and hope that this striking Qatar, a major non-NATO U.S. ally, Striking inside Qatar, for whatever reason, will prove to be a bridge too far. But the real question is, what will Donald Trump now do? Donald Trump has criticized the strike. He has condemned it. He has made clear that the United States did not support it. But without any material consequences, it's unclear whether Netanyahu will be deterred from continuing this kind of reckless action.
Matt, you didn't get quite as far as condemning it, but Faisal, what do you make of this? I mean, if America, of course, does not condemn it, how does this part of the world look at that?
Rashid,
Right. I think even the fact,
Actually,
even
that's a question to
condemning it,
Faisal,
even-
Matt. So Faisal's answering.
Netanyahu is a liability for America. I have said this during Trump trip to Qatar. He's a liability to America. Pulling America to the U.S. to the places for illegal wars. His lies. It's a joke what he's saying, right? 11 of September and all this. Netanyahu have lied again on hospitals, that there is he have lied, he have bombed schools. Netanyahu himself, he's a war criminal. So his direction, his narrative, he tried to. This is not the first time he tried to position Qatar, and then he come back and let's negotiate again and please open a channel. But I think this time it's different. He have started something. The solidarity that Qatar has from its region, from international war, from the international committee, shows that Qatar stand is a very in the right place. But I am really surprised on the Israeli public, to tell you. Can they really believe what is the narrative?
Well, Matt,
Is the hostage is not important anymore?
this is the point.
Right. If you are negotiating on the table, and if you want to pull out, just say I want to pull out from the negotiation. But bombing and creating a different narrative.
Well, then showing that if you kill the people that you were trying to make peace with, then you obviously don't want peace. Now, Matt, you began answering the question. Please continue.
Well, again, I think the question here is, what steps will Donald Trump take? Will there be any material consequences for Netanyahu? Thus far, there haven't been, either from President Biden or President Trump, and I think that's been a continuing problem. I would agree again with the other guests that the way that Netanyahu has been waging this war, not just in the past month, but over the past 2 years, and going back even before that, policies toward the occupied territories, essentially de facto, if not de jure, annexing the Palestinian territories already and foreclosing the possibility of a Palestinian state. This undermines U.S. interest in the region and undermines stability and peace in the region. And it's leading the United States and the region down a very, very dangerous path. And I think more Americans need to understand that. Now, with regard to what the Israeli public does and does not understand, we should understand that there is very heavy censorship inside Israel. That is no excuse. Obviously, Israelis have access to information should they choose to seek it out. But we also have to understand that Netanyahu has shown to be very resistant to massive public pressure in the past, even before October 7. There were months and months of massive demonstrations against his government and their judicial reform effort, which many Israelis saw as essentially a judicial coup. We've seen similar demonstrations, supporting an end to the war and a release of hostages. But thus far, as long as Netanyahu is able to keep his governing coalition together, there seems to be no way to deter or dislodge him.
Faisal, to you, now, what can the Arab world in particular and the international community really do with Israel? I mean, as long as the biggest military in the world has got its backing, not much, surely.
What do you mean, the biggest military?
The United States.
I don't think the United States has the back of Israel now. Even when you talk on the American policies, there is a different narrative. Let's see what President Trump says. But if you talk about the public here in Qatar, are so disappointed. We just had a visit, and we are the second ally, a partner ally after out of the NATO. And we face two allies of the US, and how can this be allowed? If you talk about
So is that-
public
exactly, and is that the narrative which is shaping
and we also have
the neighborhood?
Yeah, and if you talk about they have the backing. Also, we have in our backyard is Al-Udeid base, right? So we also have the biggest base out of the U.S. in the world in Qatar. So we are also a U.S. ally. So, but of course we don't have the same profile, right? Their profile, it's kind of as you know. But to tell you the truth, I think President Trump and the world and the solidarity. Today we had the visit from Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed. Tomorrow we have the president of the Crown Prince. There is no peace in the region with this person. He have proved that every chance has been given. He's a killer. It's not me saying that. It's the world order, which is the criminal court. Doesn't believe in any united resolution. He's a rogue president, unlawful. And he's pulling Israel to be a rogue state.
So what are your views on that, Matt?
I would agree, unfortunately, that under Netanyahu's leadership, Israel has become a very dangerous and unpredictable actor in the region. I don't think anyone should lament some of the weakening of some of Iran's militant proxy forces. But I think if we look at the approach here, for years, Israel's approach to Gaza was what they called mowing the lawn. Now, that is a very offensive term. I use it advisedly, but that is the term they use, which was to say that Israel retains freedom of action. They will maintain a status quo, but if threats emerge inside Gaza, they will simply strike. They will launch missiles, attacks in various ways. And they saw that as a sustainable security approach. They have now applied that approach apparently to the entire region. It was not stable and sustainable in Gaza, as everyone very horrifically found out on October 7. And I'm very, very concerned that we will find out in a similarly horrific way that it is not sustainable in the region. I would very much like to avoid that reckoning, which is why I think the United States and others in the international community should work with others in the region to make clear to Netanyahu that this cannot continue. Unfortunately, I'm not very optimistic that anyone is willing to show that leadership right now, least of all President Trump.
Matt Duss, thank you so much for joining us. Matt Duss is Executive Vice President of the Center for International Policy. Also, our thanks go to Faisal here as well. Faisal al-Mudahka, Editor-in-Chief of the Gulf Times newspaper.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.